New Zealand has just given us some kind of timeline and pathway, and we're not getting any of that from WA. I know he's under pressure now, but what is he saying about even putting a plan forward?
LJ, no one's got any idea because he's been doing the media hustings this week and no one's got any reasoning behind his sudden appearance on. He's doing drive time, talkback radio, he's doing breakfast radio with the FM stations, and he's got nothing to announce. So it kind of seems like there were appointments in the diary for him to go out and talk to the media, but he's got nothing to talk about because there is no plan yet. And this is super, super frustrating for a lot of the small businesses. Like you said, Andy Freeman, he's a very big publican in town. He runs a number of really popular venues, and he's going to have to stand down a number of casual staff. And that is really crippling for a lot of young people in Western Australia and those people that rely on that income, especially now in January in the Perth CBD and surrounding places. We've got things like Fringe Festival, the Perth Festival coming up. Another event called the Ice Cream Factory has had to close down, which was a massively popular music venue over summer, and that's now closed down just because of the insecurity of where these government restrictions could end up in the next couple of days. And we're reading today in the West Australian that 1.5 million West Australians are now snubbing the Services WA app. And look, government don't do technology very well at the best of times, and that's both at a federal and state level. But that's because you speak to people, and anecdotally, people are now saying, I'm terrified to check in. I'm now basically isolating on my own because I have things planned and I need to make sure that those plans in my life continue. So out on the streets of Perth, it is deathly quiet. A lot of people are working from home.
Yeah.
And your heart really does go out to the cafes and the small business owners, small to medium business owners, that are going to be absolutely crippled by the fact that we are now completely hamstrung.
Yeah, it's amazing to see the spin in all of this as well, because I think Mark McGowan tries to paint those empty streets as because people are scared of the virus. But in many ways, and we found this early on in New South Wales, the question is whether people are scared of the virus or the draconian restrictions that come along with it. For example, there's one Perth school, as I understand it, one positive case, dozens of fully vaccinated teachers, students, their family members, all in isolation for 2 weeks. I mean, National Cabinet's still working well, I see.
Yeah, exactly. The consultation with the feds is doing really well. Yeah, it's really disturbing the fact that all of these kids, I think we had 55 kids, 27 staff members, all into 14 days isolation. And of course, that also has ramifications back at home because if they have obviously family members in their house, a lot of people aren't lucky enough to have a second residence where they can isolate. So their family members are also then in isolation. And then that's on top of the 180 students that went into isolation earlier this week. So we're day 4 back into school, and we've got about 3 schools already closed. So things are going really well. And adding insult to injury, like we've heard from big business for the past couple of weeks, have made some really bold claims. We saw Rob Scott, the boss of Wesfarmers, said we can't do business here anymore. It's not tenable. So they've relocated to Melbourne. The Perth airport have basically closed down to retail hours of Perth that we saw in like the 1980s. It's really just operating from 3:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. Monday to Friday from the Qantas terminal, and they've closed one entire Virgin terminal and redirected flights to Terminal 2. So I think people understand that, sure, we want to keep people safe. And like the Premier told Oliver Peterson on 6PR yesterday, just this ridiculous line of, I think people would prefer not to be dead. That may have been the case, Premier, and that is always the case, but you have had 2 years and you are still using these draconian laws and rules which you were abhorred to install a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And now we have seen absolutely no foresight, and it's really, the long-term damage is going to be really troubling.
Yeah, the politics of fear is really concerning. That's still being deployed as a massive weapon. Jenna, always great to talk to you. See you in the night time. Love it.
Thanks, LJ.
Let's take you live to the